Diana has died in Paris.
Miramax Films presents
Diana was the people's princess.
a story of our times.
Is it your intention to make a statement?
No member of the royal family will speak publicly about this.
Our leaders,
Why hasn't the Queen addressed her subjects?
Your actions have damaged the monarchy.
ourselves.
Something's happened. There's been a change, some shift in values.
Your Majesty.
Miramax Films invites you to go behind the scenes of the new motion picture, The Queen.
It's an intimate story about a family. It's a story about a brand new prime minister and the relationship between inherited power and democratically elected power.
The Prime Minister's on his way, ma'am.
To be, Robin. Prime Minister to be. I haven't asked him yet.
That was a very exciting day. It was a great feeling of regeneration. Of, like, oh my God, we're starting again. Who knows what the future will bring?
Have we shown you how to start a nuclear war yet?
No.
Oh, first thing we do, apparently. Then we take away your passport and spend the rest of the time sending you around the world.
You obviously know my job better than I do.
Yes, well, you are my 10th Prime Minister, Mr. Blair. My first, of course, was Winston Churchill. He sat in your chair in frock coat and top hat.
You arrive as a new prime minister. You're young, you're untried, you're untested, a lot of attention on you, and then boom, you know, this huge event arrives.
Diana, Princess of Wales, has died after a car crash in Paris.
Tony Blair's administration just, you know, were very impressive, I thought. They threw themselves, they weren't paralyzed.
OK, the Queen's not in residence today, but where the hell is the flag? Eh? You see what I'm saying about the establishment? They was hands.
Don't tell me there isn't a flag flying at half-mast over Buckingham Palace. God. Will someone please save these people from themselves?
They weren't removed from the people. They were absolutely in touch and in tune with what the mood was in London. It was impressive.
I've never experienced anything like this. I keep waiting to wake up like it's a bad dream.
She touched the lives of so many others in Britain, throughout the world, with joy and with comfort. The people everywhere, not just here in Britain, everywhere, they kept faith with Princess Diana. They liked her, they loved her. They regarded her as one of the people. She was the people's princess.
The People's Princess speech is rightly considered one of the high spots of Tony Blair's career. It was, of course, written by Alistair Campbell, but it was Tony Blair who delivered it in this way that made me certainly think, as I watched it on television, this man is making it up on the spot. We see in this film, quite apart from the whole royal drama and the media drama, a politician coming into his own, a politician actually hitting the high spot of his game.
You got raves in the press. This lot call you the nation's mourner-in-chief. This lot says you're the only person who's correctly judged the mood of the country.
Hello.
Even the Mail was impressed. People's princess, mate. You owe me.
Well, Blair came out of that week a world figure, didn't he? He came out, I mean, he had a terrific week. He came out a sort of international star. So I guess, I mean, I personally think he was just trying to talk sense. It must have been very odd suddenly having to deal with the Queen in that way.
I don't suppose anyone's had time to think about the funeral yet.
This should be a private funeral, with a memorial service to follow in a month or so.
And the public, ma'am, the British people.
You don't think a private funeral might be denying them a chance?
A chance to what?
To share in the grief?
This is a family funeral, Mr. Blair, not a fairground attraction. I think the princess has already paid a high enough price for exposure to the press.
Don't you?
Now, if there's nothing else, I must get on. The children have to be looked after.
Of course.
Well, goodbye, Your Majesty.
She's incredibly self-disciplined, steady. She's back within herself. It's a very, I think, quite a confident place. It's a place that's full of, obviously, of incredible self-discipline.
I don't want the boys to see the news and get upset. First thing in the morning, I want the radio taken out of the bedroom and the television taken out of the nursery.
Yes, ma'am. Queen is not just Elizabeth Windsor, mother, sister, grandmother, wife. She's the sovereign. So for her to suppress her emotions is only appropriate because every time she has an emotion, as an embodiment of the head of state, it's a political act. There is protocol, there is ascendancy, there is precedent.
You imagine I'm going to drop everything and come down to London before I attend to my grandchildren who've just lost their mother? And you're mistaken. We do things in this country quietly, with dignity. It's what the rest of the world has always admired us for.
Traditionally, if you're a strong leader, you impose your will on the people, and the people follow. But sometimes that strategy doesn't pay off, and in this instance, the Queen's assumption that people would follow her line, follow her view of events, clearly backfired, and Blair was there to tell her.
Robin had a call from the Prime Minister, who expressed his concern.
About what?
About the flag above Buckingham Palace. He thinks it should be flying at half-mast.
It's more than 400 years old. Never been lowered for anyone.
Your grandfather didn't get the flag at half-mast when he died.
Who does he think he's talking to?
Here is essentially a woman getting older who doesn't understand the world anymore. And how many things of her that have defined her generation would she still like to keep? And how many of the things that she's being told are new and bold and exciting and will replace her values, does she really respect?
When you no longer understand your people, Mummy, maybe it is time to hand it over to the next generation.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. Remember the vow you took? I declare that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service. Your whole life. That is a commitment to God, as well as your people.
I think I was more nervous about this role than almost any role I've had, in as far as I can remember, because I didn't really know how it was going to come out. But then I found within myself a thought, which was think of it as that you're a portrait painter. In other words, you're bringing your perception of the Queen to your portrait, which I think is what great portraitists do. It's not a perfect reproduction. It's imbued with their own psychology and their own attitudes and their own perception of who this person is.
Diana's no longer a member of the royal family. She's not an HRH. This is a private matter.
She's mother to your grandchildren.
Cut. Check the gate, please. Checking.
Oh, I met with Helen and very, very quickly thought it would be a very good idea. I mean, she's just a very, very good actress. And then what you really do is not so much, it's not all this nonsense about trying to shape performances, but you start to make a film in which gives her the room to act.
I see Mr. Fyatt was buried last night. At midnight. No cameras, no fuss. Very dignified.
Helen Mirren obviously captures some of the physical characteristics of the Queen remarkably well, but it's the much more subtle things that Helen Mirren has got in some way. Her caution, the way she purses her lips on occasions, actually is clearly thinking something but doesn't say it.
It's unimaginable, this country being a republic.
Why?
Because no one would wear it. No one wants it.
Michael Sheen as Tony Blair, who plays Blair so well that you believe you're actually watching the real thing. He captures his apparent shyness, the apparent uncertainty, which certainly captivated us 10 years ago.
A lot of character is expressed through external things as well as internal things. So it's not just about trying to look and sound like a character. It is also a way of getting inside what that character's feeling.
Well, at least the old bat's finally agreed to visit Diana's coffin.
When you get it wrong, you really get it wrong. That woman has given her whole life in service to her people. 50 years doing a job she never wanted. She's executed it with honor, dignity, and, as far as I can tell, without a single blemish, and now we're all baying for her blood. All because she's struggling to lead the world in mourning for someone who threw everything she offered back in her face, and who for the last few years seemed committed 24/7 to destroying everything she holds most dear.